my point then, because I'm not talking.
There's why I don't care about your point. See, you're missing your point. You're not.
No, you're missing my point. That's the point I'm making.
No, that's not how this works.
Yes.
You let me finish my thinking thought. No, you don't cut me off. All right, mate.
I just did.
I'm done with this. You're not getting it. Let me explain to you, okay? Even if I just said the sentence, you don't know what I was saying. You don't understand the point I was making. So I don't know what you're saying. You thought the sentence I said was wrong, and I said to you, maybe I'm using it differently than you did. Just follow what I'm saying until the end. I'm gonna explain conversations to you. Okay, I
didn't even say
maybe
anything.
maybe I'm using the word skepticism slightly different than the way you are. Right? It doesn't. So try to follow what I'm trying to say, and then see if at the end, my end point, if there's something an issue with it. No, there's no go. There's no fucking go anymore. You're an idiot. You can't fucking let me talk, and you belabor and you just
I'm letting you talk. Go.
No, you're not. You're literally not. You literally almost cut me off again.
No, I'm not cutting you off. I'm saying go. Like, go speak. Go. Say what you want to say.
Wait for 30 minutes. I fucking say one sentence. He tries to cut me off.
What are you talking? Are you like a schizophrenic? I'm saying go. Say what you want to say.
You already fucking ruined half my thought because you went on it, made me belabor on the retarded point.
You have a mental issue?
Lay off my goat. Quick, do you remember your point?
No, that fucking scumbag interrupted him.
Stupid. I mean, I have a rough idea still. I mean, I still not, but like, it's stupid that you don't let. The guy says 5 different points, and then you try to go and explain it, and then he cuts you off to make sense.
One thing.
Oh,
just go.
Okay, Detroit, I need
you want me to remind you of the last sentence you said before you had
finish your point.
Attack? Quick, do you want me to remind you of the last sentence you said before you had your panic attack?
No, I know what I was saying, obviously, because I know when you cut me off.
Okay, then go.
I did. I said 5 words, and then you cut me off because you had a panic attack, and you're like, oh no, he said something that maybe doesn't clearly catch what I'm saying.
I didn't have a panic attack whatsoever. Go.
Okay, I think people are interested in this conversation, so Evan, either repeat what you said so maybe Quick can remember what he was saying.
I'll try to say the best of my ability what I said, right? But I'm starting to very quickly lose interest. Look, I was saying, okay, like roughly the point is, my original point was, first of all, your point was just, as I keep saying, it's what I'm trying to make this point is it's trivial because you're saying something like, if I know something, then, skeptical arguments don't work. Okay, obviously, yes, or, if I know P, then it's a conditional. If I know P, then it's not the case that I don't know P, right? Obviously. Yeah. Well, obviously, like I said, that's not interesting, right? My whole argument, let me start from the beginning, okay, is something like this. Okay, maybe the other guy didn't explain it well to you, okay? I'm saying, 1, skeptical arguments are extremely powerful. They actually are basically, you can't beat the skeptic. Okay, if you don't know what I mean by that, I'm willing to explain it to you. I'm going to stick with that word. Hopefully you know what I mean when I say that you can't beat the skeptic. So, you understand if I'm having a debate with a person A and B, right, and B is the skeptic, I can't beat him. Okay? That's my whole point. But, and this is the point you agree with me, I do know some things, right? So, you and me, I'm not denying that you don't know things, right? That's my whole point, is we're not skeptics, right? Here's the 2 uncontroversial claims. 1, you can't beat the skeptic. 2, but we still know things. Okay? So then my whole point with the stalking, or whatever you want to call it, the other thing is I'm saying something like, and this is an important point about priors and posteriors, and we could get into that issue. If by priors you mean, let's call it inferential reasons, right? But not nothing else. Let's say all evidence is inferential. Let's just stick to that case. Then in that case, the priors and the posteriors can be always equal in both the skeptical scenario and the stalking scenario, right? So in both cases, the prior and the posteriors will be quote unquote fixed. Okay, if you only whatever. But my point in both cases, right? Because at least in the skeptical case, what I said was we do believe things, we do know quote unquote know things, right? So so depending on that, then it's not just sufficient to just do this. Oh, all else is equal bullshit, right? That's what I'm saying. Yeah, there, I'm done.
Okay.
I said a lot.
Yeah. So what?
I just said I said a lot. So go ahead.
Yeah. So I guess I'm not sure if I agree all evidence is inferential. I mean, actually, if I disagreed, it'd probably just be a verbal dispute. So I don't even care to get into that. But I mean, here was the point I was making. I guess I don't think.
I didn't claim all evidence.
What?
I just said I didn't claim all evidence is inferential. Go ahead.
Wait, what did you say exactly then?
I said it as a conditional. I said if, just assume, basically, just for this, like.
Oh.
But yeah, go
sure.
ahead.
I mean, yeah. If you think if all evidence is inferential and you have skeptical arguments against the inferences, then it might be that all the skeptical arguments can be reduced to the priors. I mean, I think it depends on the specific inferences or what you consider an inference to be. That doesn't really matter. It's besides the point. The point I was getting at was this: like the way Daniel framed the debate to me was something like, okay, stalking horse and some other hypothesis, they can have equal priors and posteriors, and yet one be more likely than the other. And as an analogy, he gave skeptical scenarios. Like skeptical scenarios are less likely than realist scenarios, yet because of underdetermination, skeptical hypotheses have the same priors and posteriors as non-skeptical hypotheses. And so I agree that it seems like skeptical hypotheses are less likely. And so we need to explain that. And if you're right that the priors and posteriors are equal, that's not what's going to explain it. My whole move was to deny that the priors were equal between the skeptical and non-skeptical hypotheses, right? And that is what explains the intuitive unlikeliness of skeptical hypotheses. And I was giving a case of how that could be so. And yes, in a certain sense, it is trivial. Like if I know that P, then skeptical scenario concerning P doesn't work. But if that's the evidence we have, right, and then we also have the evidence that we know that P, right, then the prior probability, if we're considering some other piece of evidence for skepticism, is going to be lower than the realist hypothesis because we have some evidence which is genuinely inconsistent with the skeptical hypothesis. That's all I was getting at. As for whether or not you can beat the skeptic, I'm not sure. I think it depends on what you mean. Like, if you mean something like you can't end the skeptic's questioning, sure. If you mean you can't have knowledge, which I don't think that's what you mean, then no. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay, so the important thing, okay, so we're getting, okay, this is where we're going to have to get all the details are going to be important on this, and this is why. The other guy didn't let me get into the details, so well, give me 1 second, Okay, I'm back. What was I saying? Okay. The important issue is this, okay? When I say beat the skeptic, and this is going to get into all this stuff, do you know the distinction between internalism and externalism about reasons?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So what I'm saying is something like this. Or you're basically the skeptic is when they do skeptical arguments, there's some kind of internalist about reasons, okay? So and what's required is that to beat the skeptic, you have to be able to basically say something to the skeptic, offer some piece of evidence, right? You know what I mean by that, right? Like offer some piece of evidence to the skeptic to increase his warrant, right? So, and this is the whole point I'm trying to say, right? And the point is you can't do that. That's all the skeptical arguments show, right? So whatever knowledge you have, it can't be inferential in that way, right? Where you can go and tell the skeptic, P, right? That's why Q, right?
Wait, you cut out.
That's the whole point when I say you can't beat the skeptic.
Wait, you cut out.
Oh, hello?
Yeah, you were saying like you can't do what type of inference to show the skeptic is wrong?
You can't like state a reason, right? Because you can't go, because it's famously, if you say P, he says, oh, why Q? You say P, right? And then he says, well, why P, right? There's like a famous simple issue, right? There's other stuff, but roughly that's like one way of doing it, right? That's why you can't ever, quote unquote, beat the skeptic, right? If you have some kind of knowledge, right, it's going to be some kind of, it's going to be of the form where you can't say, where it's not like let's say P, right? You can't state it in that way. It's going to be something non-inferential, right? So what I'm saying is, and this is the important point about now we're talking about the Bayesian stuff, and this is what I'm saying. It needs to be clear. So sometimes they make a distinction between what's called intrinsic prior probabilities and extrinsic prior probabilities. So what I'm saying is this, okay? And when I'm saying, if you want to use Bayesian talk, sure, our intrinsic prior probabilities can be different, right? But importantly, this is going to be something that's not inferential. And so remember this. Imagine the debate between me and the other guy, the atheist skeptic. Okay, he says my hypothesis is this, your hypothesis is that. Why pick your hypothesis over mine, right? So, but now he's asking me to give him a reason, just like the skeptic is. He's saying, "Give me a P for Q," and I'm saying, "But wait, sir, you just like." It's not as simple as that. We and this is, yeah, I mean, if you really want to get, this is my position, and I mean, and you could say this is controversial, but fine. My position is that, yeah, there are non-inferential ways of knowing things, right? That's how, right? So what I'm saying is, just like how I know the external world exists, right? I can know that your position is stupid, right? Even though in terms of inferential reasons, your hypothesis and my hypothesis are equal. You see that's what I'm trying to tell. That's what I'm saying. That's my point. I know that makes sense to you, but that's very clearly what I'm saying.
Okay, so
yeah, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Okay, so what you're saying is, if all evidence that if all the evidence we're talking about, which fixes our priors and our posteriors, is inferential, right? And the skeptic can question all these inferences, right? Then it follows that the extrinsic prior probabilities are going to be the same. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, of course, extrinsic prior probabilities, all the probabilities, right? Of course, right? Yeah, right. Because when you can do, yeah, there's many ways of doing it. He can run. Basically, what you can do is you can underdetermine all the evidence, and that's one way of doing it. There's other ways of doing it. Let's just stick with the underdetermining all the evidence, right? In that sense, right? Which is exactly what you're doing with the Northworth guys doing.
That's what I want to get clear on. When you say underdetermine all the evidence, in this context, evidence are inferences, right?
It's going to be, yeah. Well, it's going to be some kind of proposition in some relation, right? So it's going to be P implies Q or something like this. It doesn't be strictly entailing, right? But yeah.
If I did something, like if I did a kind of neo-Morian move, like if I went, I know that P. If I know that P, then I know that P, and conclude I know that P. And then I go, if I know that P, then skepticism is false. So it follows skepticism is false. Would you consider that inferential? First off,
well, the problem is it's not about the issue. Is not the word knowledge. So the problem is there's going to be the skeptic. The skeptic. Okay, I want to get into some.
Well, just answer the first question. I'm trying to get somewhere. Like, would you consider that type of proposal? If I said that to the skeptic, would that be kind of an inferential proposal of the kind you're talking about when you speak of inferences?
No, it wouldn't. It would be for multiple reasons, but no. Let's just say no.
So then, I think we should get clear on what you mean by, because I mean, those seem like a set of inferences to me. What do you mean inferences exhaust evidence if you're not talking about those type of things?
Couple of points. First of all, and now you're forcing me to do the thing I was going to explain why not. Because, first of all, when you say, knowledge equals roughly JTB, okay? Do you agree with that?
No.
No? Okay, then we're going to go nowhere because this is getting annoying. Because I don't like the way, I don't think you should use the word knowledge then. Drop that word.
What do you mean I shouldn't?
Because it's vague and ambiguous in a way that's not helpful.
I can clarify the term exactly. I have a reductive theory.
Well, I'm not interested in the word knowledge. I'm interested in justification. So I'm warrant. The question isn't about. So
depends on what you mean by like. If you mean warrant is that thing that when added to truth and belief gets you knowledge, then or when added to JTB gets you knowledge, then I mean I have. In a certain sense, I have a theory of that because my theory of knowledge is 3 conditions. The third condition would just count as warrant given that definition. But my theory of knowledge doesn't have anything to do with justification. It doesn't have justification as a condition.
Well, then I don't know. Okay, then I don't know what you're saying. I'm not. Okay, I don't know why we're using. I don't know why you would even use a word that's idiosyncratic. Then okay, whatever.
I don't think it's idiosyncratic. I mean, it explains all of our linguistic intuitions about the usage of knowledge. I mean, it's in line with various studies philosophers have given. Experimental studies philosophers have done, like John Turry's study.
It's fine. It doesn't matter.
I mean, it seems to me that JTB is the idiosyncratic one because 68% of non-philosophers don't have a JTB view of.
I didn't say JTB is correct. I didn't say JTB is correct. I didn't say JTB is correct.
I know you didn't say it was correct, but you said that, and I think maybe you're wrong. You didn't explicitly say that a non-JTB theory is idiosyncratic. You just said mine was. But I think you're getting at that non-JTB theories are idiosyncratic. And given my understanding of that term, that's, I mean, just empirically not true.
I'm saying any theory that's doesn't put justification somewhere in it does seem, I'm saying that's idiosyncratic. So, but
why is that idiosyncratic?
I don't want to defend that because that's just my just intuition. Let's just go with that there. So I don't want to defend this.
Okay,
look, I don't
you don't
want
have to
to
defend that point.
Yeah, this is stupid. All right, look, if you think that, it's fine. Look, my experience in this stupid literature is that most definitions include some fact of justification or warrant. Okay, whatever you want to call it, whatever. Okay, yours doesn't fine. I don't know. It's okay. All right, that's just my personal experience. So that's why I call it idiosyncratic.
Okay, yeah, I'm not disputing your personal experience.
Are we cool with that? Are we cool with that? Are we done with arguing about the word knowledge? Okay, good.
I'm cool with your experience, dude. I have no problem with it.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So let me see what I'm trying to say. Okay. Oh, again, we got distracted again. So look, all I'm saying is something about justification. I don't like to use the word knowledge because it entails some facts about truth, and I'm not interested in. I don't know. Again, maybe yours doesn't. I don't know your definition. So usually, truth is another condition that's included in knowledge. So I'm. What I'm saying is.
Truth isn't mine.
What I'm saying is. There's this thing called justification. I'm not gonna really define it because this is getting really weird at that point. There's this concept called justification. I think that's a better way of talking about this. Okay, not knowledge.
Okay.
Because, okay, good. So the statement you're saying is another point is, and you're doing another very philosophy pedantic thing, which is you're forcing me to be very clear in an annoying way, which is, what do I mean by inferentialism? Well, here's one way to distinguish what you're doing, why I wouldn't consider what you're doing inferentialism the way I'm talking about, which is that yours is a kind of syntactic truth or logical truth or analytic truth.
No, it's not.
I don't know. Yeah, it is. If I know P.
No, it has synthetic premises. It's two conditionals, but two of the premises are synthetic truths. They're claims about how the world actually is.
If I know P, repeat this thing one more time then.
Yeah. So okay, yeah. So maybe this is where we went wrong. So the first, it's two conclusions. So the first conclusion, the way we get there is that if I know that P, then I know that P, and then the second is I have second order knowledge, and it concludes that I have first order knowledge. And then the second conditional is if I know that P, then all the skeptical scenarios which rule out my knowledge of P are ruled out. They're false. And so then it follows that such skeptical scenarios.
Then obviously, I agree that would be P. But then I know that the second premise is the one is I know that P, right?
That's the second premise. Yes.
Yeah. I know that P.
Yeah.
Therefore, I know P.
That's the conclusion of the first part of the argument. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean.
So, would you consider that a type of inference which could rightly be said to be a part of evidence?
Sure, fine.
Okay,
fine.
so that was the point I was getting at. Like, okay, so if you're saying all evidence can be underdetermined, let's take this argument, right? It properly counts as evidence given your definition. So I present this to the skeptic. How are they going to underdetermine it?
They're going to ask you, how do you know that P?
So now I'm not clear on what the way underdetermined is usually used is like, okay, so take any set of appearances you have, right? They are not going to support a realist hypothesis over a skeptical hypothesis because the skeptical hypothesis can just be fixed so as to predict that you have these set of appearances. And so the evidence or the justification you have is undermined, right? It's underdetermined.
So there's
what's going on with this argument.
Yeah, I know. So you didn't answer my question. You jumped ahead again. So the whole point is it's a two-step process, right?
What was your question?
How do you know that P?
Oh, I thought you were saying an assertion that's what they were saying. If you want my answer to that, let's say P is something like I have two hands. The answer would be through introspection. That's how I have the second order knowledge.
Okay, and then they're going to say something like, well, I can have an alternative theory, right, where your introspections are correct, but your hands aren't there.
Yeah, my introspections are correct?
Yeah, that well, this is again.
You need to clear on what that entails because if my introspection is correct, then all my introspection is saying is my perceptions are correct. And if my perceptions are correct, that logically entails that I have two hands. So it'd be impossible for them to say my introspection on the matter is correct. And also say I don't have two hands. So I don't see how they can make that move.
Okay, so I mean, this is gonna get, no. The point is, okay, if you, what they're gonna say is something like, it could be the case that you introspect, right? Okay.
So what do you mean by could there? Epistemically? Because epistemically, given I'm right, it isn't epistemically possible. Logically possible or metaphysically possible, maybe, but I'm not sure how that has any bearing on what I know.
Let's take epistemic possibility.
Epistemic possibility, you said?
Yes. So
what's the argument for that? What would the skeptic's argument for that be? Because I'm skeptical that it is epistemically possible that such a thing could occur.
No, it's the other way. You have to give an argument. Why does the skeptic have to give an argument?
Wait, why? They're making an assertion back to me. They're saying it is epistemically possible that I could have such a correct introspection and my hands still not be there. Like, given what I know, that isn't epistemically possible. Unless you have some different understanding of epistemic possibility.
No, what do you mean, given what I know? What are you saying, given what I know? What the hell? What the hell is it? What do you mean, given what I know?
One way to understand epistemic possibility is something is epistemically possible if it's not inconsistent with what you know. Well, given what I'm taking myself to know, it is inconsistent for me to have such an introspection and not have him.
The problem again, I would not define it that way, and I don't know why we're using the word no. I would not use the word no in any of this because it's making this whole thing. There's a lot of ambiguity in the way you're using the word no there. So
just want me to get clear. I can tell you my reductive analysis.
No, because even if I give it to me, we're just gonna get bogged down in pointless details. But if you want me to do it, we can do it. I mean, but fine, just do it. There's no way
I have no desire which way. You keep talking about how there's some semantic imprecision. I can just make that apparent semantic imprecision gone by telling you. It seems like you don't have interest in knowledge talk, but in justification talk. But for me, it's the other way around. Like, it may be right that, in a certain sense, the skeptic can undermine most justifications. I'm fine with that, but that they can undermine most of our knowledge, I don't think so. And I also think that
the whole point of inferentialism is about justification, not about knowledge.
Just real quick, I know that's what you said, but I'm about to add another thing which replies to that. And I think it's right that if I have second order knowledge of P, then I'm justified in believing that P. And so, given my view, if the skeptic can't undermine our knowledge, including our second order knowledge, then there are some things which we are rightly justified in believing and which they can't undermine. Now, I do agree, as I said 30 seconds ago, they can undermine some of our justification, but not the type I'm talking about here.
Okay, here's what I'm going to claim. All right, and I'm very confident about this.
Okay.
Your justification, if it's inferential, they can just keep saying why.
Oh, I totally agree. They can keep saying why, but what effect that has on
reason. Let's just stop. Let's just stick to this most abstract version of it. Then you have to keep if you have to give another proposition, right, to justify that proposition, right? Agree?
Wait, say that again. Sorry.
Okay. Let's start with this. You say Q.
Okay.
Okay. They say why Q. You say P. They say why P. Then you have to do another one. R.
Well, what do you mean I have to do another one?
Because the rules of the game. Because in the rules of the game. No.
What game?
The skeptical game.
Listen, if you're making a game in which like infinite regresses aren't permissible and the only way to continue in the game is an infinite regress, then guess what? Now you're saying something trivial, as you accused me of doing in a problematic way earlier. You're just saying something trivial. That's fine. Listen, I agree the skeptic can go, why? But what effect that has on our knowledge?
No, you're I am saying something trivial. That's why I'm confused why you're disagreeing with what I'm saying. So I'm happy we're at that point.
I'm not disagreeing. I just said I agree that it's trivially true.
Oh my God! Listen to what I'm saying. You're telling me about the infinite regresses. Look.
What
was okay? Why did you get confused about when I said the rules of the game? What's confusing about that? First of all, let's stick to that.
I agree with you. I'm saying if you think the rules of the skeptical game are, you can't have permissible regresses or circularities or like just saying because or something like that, then sure. I mean, it will go on forever.
Slow down. Is that not what I said from the beginning? So
no, you used the word have, and then you clarified the word have, and I'm agreeing, right? But you're making a further claim that undermines justification. Okay,
You're literally not letting me
and
talk.
that's not
You're
what I'm
literally
clear on.
No,
Right?
you're literally not. Okay, you're killing. Okay, look, just very slowly, for the love of God. Let's just go slow from the beginning. Okay, so I started from the beginning. I don't. Okay, I specifically said when I say rules of the game, I'm saying I specifically made this. I said that the justification has to be inferential. Okay, right? And by inferential, I just mean it's. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, if you really want me to define shit to this level, fine. Is that
I'm fine saying just
no? But
all
let me explain. Let me
justifications are
explain what I
inferential.
mean by inferential justification, because this is what everyone means by it. So I'm not using it in some weird way. Okay.
I know
It
you're not.
means. Okay, well, let me explain, because then you're saying what I said was trivial, which I'm not necessarily disagreeing, depending on what you meant, but you disagreed with it, or I thought you were disagreeing with it, so I don't know why
I
we're.
know. I agree
Well, let
because
me
I think it's
finish. Well,
trivially
let
true.
me finish. Let me finish. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So I don't know what you're. I can't figure out what your position is. All right. I'm very about look. So I'm not gonna say anything about your beliefs because I'm tired of trying to play that game. Here's what I said. I said from the beginning. I said inferential justification. That's. Remember, I said talk about because I even said beating the skeptic. So you're getting confused about this game analogy. My whole point is when you're talking to the skeptic, you have to have this kind of, like I said, I mean, inferential justification. You let's say you want to say P is true, right? For P to be true, you have to offer another proposition Q in a way that's related to, right? In some kind of where it has some kind of link to P, right? You know, Q, therefore P. Q gives evident justification for P. Let's just use the word justification there. Q justifies P. Then the skeptic just says, well, why Q? Oh, well, you know, R. Well, why R? Well, da 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 da, right? And here's the point. Where you stop, right? He's gonna say, let's say you stop at the third link. You go Q R S. Q implies R implies S. Q justifies R justifies S. Okay. The skeptic says, okay, but now I can come up with a different justification chain but not starting with R, but with L. And they go, this is the underdetermination part. You're asking where the underdetermination comes in. He says, so the skeptic does this. It's just two-part step. He says, basically, the chain doesn't go on forever, right? You know, so the chain stops somewhere. In practical discourse, this has to happen. Okay, so this is important. So the chain's going to stop somewhere at some proposition. Let's call it whatever, A, B, C, whatever. He just says A, and then there's a link between A and all the other propositions. Okay, all he does, and it doesn't have to be one, but again, we're keeping this idea simple. Okay, but you get the idea. Okay, he says A, there's a link from A to Z. He says, oh, simple. Oh, you just have to, all I have to find is, right, A prime. Well, and A prime is just, and then you got this link from A prime to Z. Oh, well, then I've underdetermined your theory, right? So therefore, you know, why pick A over A star? Well, you know, there it is. And then therefore, I've undermined all your justification for all the other ones. That's the skeptic's whole point. That's what I'm saying when I say that stuff. So I'm not sure. I agree with you. Maybe that this is trivial. That's why I'm not sure why we're even having this conversation from the beginning. I'm saying you can't beat the skeptic. I said that. I'm like, obviously you can't beat. I actually told the guy at that time too. I was like, yeah, I don't know. What I'm saying is not controversial. I'm like, I was confused. I was actually very confused about the whole conversation. I was like, what? Like, you can't beat the skeptic. But yeah, there. Do you disagree with this or not? Let me just start with that. Do you disagree with my claim? With what the whole process I said? You got this chain. It doesn't go on forever, right? So he just keeps asking why
It
until you
turns
stop.
on. I think it turns on what you mean by undermine or underdetermine. If you mean something trivial like they can offer some other chain, yeah, I mean, of course they can physically offer another chain. Like, I'm fine with saying that, but that underdetermines the justification in the chain.
It does
Don't think it's
inferentially,
clear.
even the rules. Remember, the rules are inferential justification, right?
Yeah,
So
no, that's
the point
fine.
is,
But just listen real quick.
you can't beat the skeptic. And given what I said, that's what when I said beat the skeptic.
Listen, you went on for a long time, and I understand your claim, which is you can't beat the skeptic, but repeating it is not going to do anything.
All right, go ahead.
Saying, okay, I offer some chain. What?
Go ahead.
Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So, listen, again, it's true that they can offer some competing chain, right? But you made a more specific claim in what you're saying, which is that undermines my chain or underdetermines the justification that is purportedly given by my chain. We can agree
Hello?
was inferential, right? And they can offer some, chain. But I mean, my response to the skeptic here would just be like, okay, I know part of the piece of the chain, and you don't know any of the pieces of the chain, or maybe they do. I mean, if the conclusion is like not P or something like that, then obviously we're going to have inconsistent chains. Assume it is. I'm just going to say you don't have that knowledge, okay? And that's why our chains are significantly different. And now they can say they do, right? They can reply, actually, I do have that knowledge or something like that. But then they've undermined their whole skeptical hypothesis in the first place.
So you cut out, but I'm gonna. But it's fine. It's fine. I'm pretty sure I know what you said. Hello?
Very important. Hello?
Hello? Yeah, your voice is very soft. It's very low. Better.
Better
Okay.
here? I'm better here?
Yeah, better. Yeah.
Okay, wait. So what did you miss? Because what I said was important.
I'm skeptical of that. Okay, so let me just make my point very clear.
Okay.
Okay. The whole chain is going to depend, and this is the point. The whole chain is going to depend on the beginning node. Okay, right?
The whole chain of justification is going to depend on the beginning node.
Yeah, because that's how it's going to. I want to get. You get, yeah, of course. I mean, yes.
I'm not sure about that. Maybe depending on the certain theory of justification. Like, for example, I'm fine with saying, like, take the principle I introduced earlier, which was KPP, therefore JP, right? Maybe we don't have justification for KPP, but still it seems to me, and I'm more externalist in this regard, if KPP is true, then I do have epistemic justification to believe that P.
Why do
Maybe that first part of the chain isn't justified, and so like justification isn't transmissive. I don't know. I think that's actually quite controversial.
No, you're not. Okay, first of all, you already cheated again, and you're not getting the. Okay,
What do you mean I cheated?
I'm not asking you about the way. I'm not asking about whether external. Okay, internalism is true by the game. So I don't know why you're bringing this up.
Okay, well, listen, I agreed earlier. If you're stipulating something like there's no way to accrue justification, and you can only, or like if you're saying there's no way to start out with baseline justification, I'll say, and you need baseline justification to get justification, then trivially you can't get justification.
I'm not saying that. I'm not even saying that. I'm not even saying that, actually.
So what are you saying?
I'm saying your baseline justification, let's say for A, let's say you have some baseline justification for A. By definition, you can't articulate that to, like, you can't offer that to the skeptic, right? It's something.
And when you, according to the rules of the game, or something else, when you say can't there?
I mean by any, well, the rules of the game are that it's something, if you were to do that, it would be inferential, right?
Okay.
How so, but it's the beginning node, so it's not inferential. So I don't know how, that's my whole point. You can't do that. Yeah. I'm not sure what to say. Look,
right, if you're saying I have some non-inferential justification, and then you're stipulating the only way that they can get that is by way of inferences out of my mouth, then sure. I mean, that's another point, which I'm not sure.
That's obvious, exactly. No, that's obviously my point. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Wait. The whole point the skeptic is saying is convince me, right? Do you understand? Okay,
Oh.
something like, that
Listen,
is the whole
I mean,
conversation.
I'm not sure that is. I mean, at least in the literature on skeptical scenarios, I mean, most philosophers, I mean, I can name some like John Greco or Jennifer Lackey or Ernest Osa. I mean, none of them engage in the skeptical debate where it's like, our goal is to convince the skeptic. I mean, ever since Thomas Reid and I don't even know, like 1700s, like skepticism hasn't really been engaged with in the literature from the point of our goal is to convince the skeptic. Like, I mean, given what the skeptic wants, it might literally be impossible. Like, what's his name?
Impossible. I agree with you.
I'll give you an example. Paul Moser, for example, he gives the example of what the skeptic. Just real quick, let me finish. Just one second.
Okay,
yeah, like Paul Moser, for example, gives an analogy. He's like, okay, the skeptic is asking us to stand in a room while also being outside of it. Like, sure, it's impossible to do that, but whether or not we actually have justification or knowledge, I mean, at least given my understanding of the terms, has nothing to do. Like, a necessary condition for having those is not convincing the skeptic. And earlier, what we were talking about was underdetermination and stuff like that. I mean, given that a necessary condition for these things is not convincing the skeptic, I don't really know what this has to do with that. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Are you done? Please, I don't want you to keep ranting forever. Okay, look.
I finished quite a while ago.
Let me be very, very explicit. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. Your citing a literature is helping my point. I'm not claiming we have no knowledge. That's actually explicitly not my point. It's exactly what I've been denying the whole time. So I don't know
I know
why you
that's
bring that
not
up.
what you're claiming, but that's my whole point. The fact you're not claiming that, I'm not sure what relevance this has with
Let me
the original
explain.
part of the
Let me
conversation.
explain. So before you cut me off, I like how you cut me off where I'm going to explain my point. Okay, anyways, weird.
I know you like that.
Yeah. So let me. I never claimed skepticism is correct. Actually, my whole point is it's not correct. Two, the people in the literature actually. I love you're saying to. I can fucking find something else. I literally find a quote. Yeah, it's just I agree with you. I forgot who.
Okay.
Whatever. But exactly, they don't engage in this version of skepticism, right? They define certain. I forgot the term. The certain versions of skepticism. There's certain versions that they acknowledge are unbeatable, right? That's my whole point. They don't engage with. Why they don't engage with this point? Because they agree with me. Everyone agrees that this is unbeatable. Because the way it's set up, I agree with you. The way it's set up is so that you can't really win. Look, everything you're saying is not. I'm not denying it. That's my whole point from the beginning. I've said from the beginning. I'm saying something like this way of skepticism that I'm talking about is unbeatable. It's not controversial. And then you think and then you're saying something like you're making it seem like I'm trying to defend. The literature version of skepticism that's maybe not as crazy, right? There's like weaker versions that are like, right? Well, I'm not defending that. That's not my point at all. Actually, my point is the trivial point. That's my point from the beginning. I'm making an uncontroversial claim to back up my original point. So I don't know.
That's how I'm not clear. That's what I'm not clear on and how it backs up. Because you're making. Okay, this is what's unclear.
I'm gonna make
how
a very explicit
trivially
point.
you can't beat the skeptic given the skeptic's rules for how to beat them. How that relates to whether or not our justification is underdetermined, specifically the justification relating to priors. That's what's not clear.
Well, let me be very clear, okay?
Okay.
Let me go with the other example. Okay, I'm the atheist. You're the atheist versus the theist, okay?
Okay.
I'm making this claim. I'm saying, well, actually, before I even get to that point, here's what I'm saying. I'm actually agreeing. I'm saying there is non-inferential justification. That's my claim.
There is non-inferential, or there's.
There is non-inferential. I'm saying,
okay.
Here's my claim. Here's explicitly my claim. If all knowledge is purely inferential, right, then the skeptic wins. Right, and by inferential, I mean exactly what I meant. Which I'm gonna I'll even put it more explicitly. When I say not beat the skeptic, I mean exactly the statement, which is that I can't give a reason. I can't state some reason, right, so that the skeptic knows what I know, right? Let's say I know P, right? My claim is I can't ever convince the skeptic to know P. That's my claim. That's my whole point.
Okay.
Okay. Now, in the first case, that's what I'm saying is what's going to happen.
Wait, you cut out.
Okay.
I can't hear.
The atheist is going to ask you, why pick your hypothesis over my hypothesis?
Listen, cut out. You cut out for a while. I didn't hear you.
Oh my fucking god. I don't know, man. Look, I'm gonna say this one time and then I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to go. Look, can you hear me?
I currently can. Yes.
Okay. I'm saying you can't beat the skeptic, and what I mean by that is exactly this. Let me be very explicit.
No, I understand exactly what you mean. You don't have to labor on that point.
Oh, okay. So you agree with that point? Okay, then fine. Then I'll go to the other point.
Yes.
Okay, fine, sure. So when there's a theist versus an atheist, okay, an atheist has the simpler hypothesis over the theist. Yeah? My claim.
Can anyone else hear him or no?
Can anyone else hear me?
You cut out.
I can hear you now.
Just about to say what your claim was.
Yeah, I didn't hear what your claim was.
Okay, hello. Okay,
Yeah.
my claim is the atheist let's say the atheist and the theist. Okay, the atheist says simpler theory. I make a simpler theory than the theist theory. Okay, why but I determine all the evidence, right? Why pick your theory over my theory, right? So he's asking that why question. He's saying, give me a reason, right? Right, and I'm saying it's the same. And I'm saying this. What I said is this. I said at that point, that's where, and this is my whole point of skepticism is he's asking for a reason, and I'm saying it's not crazy, it's actually reasonable. There's going to be a point where you're going to have to hit a gap, right? That's what I'm saying. So the theist can say, I have non-inferential justification for believing in let's say the theist hypothesis over your hypothesis, right? Even though they're equally underdetermined, because of the same kind of, you want to use it on non-inferential justification that you have, that I have for excluding many hypotheses, right? Because, and this is the other point I made with the other guy, which is that you can do what the atheist did. I can have a theory that only one thing exists. Okay, so here's the ultimate version of what that guy does. He says, I don't know,
Could you get clear on the claim? Because you're saying something follows from the trivial victory of the skeptic when they set up rules which make it to where only they can win. What follows from this exactly?
There,
just say a simple claim and we'll see.
Here's the most simplest way of putting it.
Okay,
here's this verse. Well, the really simple claim is, if we have knowledge, it has to be non-inferential. Well, I do think we have knowledge. More importantly than that, it's a pretty big. There's a sense in which it has to be pretty powerful, because, or like at least decently, because we're very good at picking out realist, let's say non-skeptical hypothesis from skeptical hypothesis. We clearly just like spread them out, right? So it's not like some small little tiny thing. It's like there's something to it. It's something meaningful, and hopefully you know what I mean by that. I don't want to get too technical. Those what I'm saying follows from all of that. So what I'm saying then is what?
Okay, what?
Go ahead.
Wait, I'm just not clear on the claim is, if we have knowledge and it's non-inferential, and what?
I said we have knowledge.
That was the first thing you said.
And
we have knowledge.
Yeah. And I said.
That's your claim? Oh, there's
and
more.
Then
okay.
Well, then I also said it has to be at least somewhat decently discerningly strong, because we can rule out a lot of hypotheses.
What do you mean by decent? So you're saying if we have knowledge, then it has to be non-inferential and decently strong. I'm not clear on the second. I mean, listen. Let's say we accept this. I still don't see how this follows from the first. I'll say premise, basically. I mean, the first premise is the skeptic wins. I mean, that sentence. I'm
gonna go baby steps. Okay. I'm gonna go baby steps for you, and I do have to go actually. Baby step number one. Baby step number one. Okay. What by the skeptic winning shows that inferential knowledge only. Can I get your justification? Right.
Okay. So the first premise is really, if the skeptic is right, then inferential knowledge by itself isn't enough to have knowledge, or inferences aren't enough for knowledge.
Yeah.
Okay. Second premise still doesn't follow, or the conclusion still doesn't follow.
Wait. Let me be clear. The claim that we have knowledge doesn't follow from this.
So that wasn't your claim. The claim was pretty multifaceted. It was, if we have knowledge and it's non-inferential and strong.
If we have knowledge,
then you have to claim that we have knowledge.
Okay, let's look at that one. I'm pretty sure I just said, okay, look, here's if I have knowledge, then it's non-inferential, right? Well, simple. Well, what's the what I just said was, if skepticism is right, let's go from the beginning. If skepticism is right, then what's it called? This kind of skeptical game, right? Then I can't. My knowledge can't be inferential. That's what I'm saying, right? That's another way of putting what I said.
Like all of it? I don't think that follows from skepticism. What follows from skepticism is, I mean, if the skeptic is right, at least, that you need more than just inferential knowledge. But I mean,
that's what I said.
Right. That's fine.
That's explicitly it.
I think what follows from that. Listen, I think what follows from that is that we have non-inferential knowledge. But that was not what your conclusion was.
That is what I claimed.
What?
What? That is what I claimed.
No. I'll tell you what you claimed. You claimed if we have knowledge and it's not inferential and strong, and we have knowledge. That was your claim, which I got you to clarify.
Oh, I already addressed the second part of that. So why are you being dishonest now? Okay, dishonesty caught right there.
Address the second part.
Slow down. I already said the part we have now. First of all, I didn't.
You agreed that was the claim you were making. Obviously, doesn't follow the first part. Part of it does.
Calm down. Okay, first of all, That is not even minor nitpick. That's not what I said. The
That
two
is
other
literally you agreed that was your.
Are you gonna let me talk? Can I explain why it's not?
Yeah, go ahead and talk. I'll let you.
Okay.
Yeah, go.
Because the two other claims were not part of the consequence of that conditional. So maybe that was ambiguous. What I said is this: that first
It's
claim
quite
was a
ambiguous.
conditional. Okay, fine. Okay, that's fine. I don't give a shit. Okay, fine. I agree. There's a little bit of ambiguity. Fine. Okay, it's fine. What I said was this. I said that only the conditional, only the consequence of only the first part of the consequent was part of the conditional. The other two claims I said that's why I paused. Whatever, fine. I said, oh, I also think we have knowledge. That doesn't. I said this a little bit afterwards. I made it explicit. I said that part I'm saying is not entailed by the skepticism point. That's a different point. Yeah. So I already said that. So I don't know why you bring that up.
Strongness either.
What?
You also said something about strongness. Is that
No,
a part
I don't
of the
think that
conditional?
follows. I don't think that follows. Of course,
Okay.
that was my third statement. So of course my third statement doesn't follow. If my second statement doesn't follow from the third statement, of course not.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. Only that first part follows from it. I'm saying once you get to that first step, okay, then we have non-inferential knowledge, and I'm saying, my point is, then obviously I'm saying the antecedent is true. I'm saying the antecedent is true. Therefore, but this point is the consequence of that is true, and then I'm combining that with the third claim I make, which is that what did I say? Yeah, it's strong, and I'm using a vague word term.
I mean,
yeah. So that's all that. Yeah, it sounds like you do agree with all that shit. The first part does follow from the skepticism point, which is the point I was making, and then the second and third part.
I think you have to add something else.
Let me put it like this: even if I'll let you say it.
You have to add that you need to have.
Let me be. No, it's either super pedantic, so irrelevant and very dishonest, or it's not even correct. But go ahead.
I don't think it's either.
Make your point now.
What?
Go ahead. Say what you want to say. What do I have to add?
Right. So the skeptic being right, at best, just shows that if the rules the skeptic is outlining are right, then you can't beat the skeptic. I think that's fine, right? But we need to ask whether or not the skeptic's rules are right. And there's another more important rule. Imagine the skeptic is right that, or don't imagine. I'll say something different. Like what the skeptic is trying to get at is whenever you have inferential knowledge, either it's going to go on infinitely, circularly, or like just stop, or something like that. The issue is, imagine justification doesn't have to be transmissive, right? So like in order to have justification, I don't need it to have it from some other place. Or like, imagine I have a chain of inferences, justification can start with maybe the third inference, and it doesn't need to start with the first. If that's not in place, then I don't think we have any reason to think that you can't have inferential knowledge.
So, I don't know. Okay, so... there's a couple of very weird things about what you just said. Okay, first of all, it seems like you're just going back to. So I want to be clear. Are you just going back to saying you can't beat the skeptic, or?
No, I'm saying that.
And also, the rules of the game point is I don't know why we bring that up again. But yeah, go ahead.
Right. All I was saying was the fact you can't beat the skeptic, right, just shows that all that is a simple conditional. If the skeptic is right about the rules for engagement and stuff like that, then it follows that you can never beat them in an engagement. That's fine, right? But we want to ask.
Right? There's no. You need the word. There's no right or wrong. So that's another thing. I don't know what this right or wrong has to do with anything. This is nothing new. I'm not saying anything about right or wrong or any shit. I'm just stating conditional truths, which is if these are the rules, then this is what follows. Yeah. If you want to put.
Well, when you say these are the rules, you're saying. Not if these are the right. When I say right, I meant that more in true. Like if it's true.
Right or wrong. I'm not getting into some shit about right or wrong. I don't know what you're saying about right or wrong.
No. Well, I'm getting clear. When I say right, I just mean like you're right. That's true. I'm not saying right or wrong in a normative sense. I'm right or wrong rules. I'm saying like true or false. That's what I'm saying.
I don't know what it means for the rules to be true or false. Like they're like analytically
true. It's true that these are the rules of something. Like it's true that these are the rules of chess. You don't know what that means?
There's in our conversation, that's a very pedantic point. Let me put it like that.
I mean, you're saying you don't know what it means for rules to be true.
No, I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Okay, now I know what you're saying there.
Like it's pedantic or unclear.
No, I just addressed. Wait. I acknowledge. I said I'm gonna say this one more time. I'm gonna here. I'll put it like this. Yes, I know what you're saying. So you get so you don't get, you know. And I'm saying, but what you're saying is an extremely pedantic point in the context of our conversation. So when I said I didn't know what you meant, I was actually being charitable and it's not assuming you're making an extremely pedantic point. But okay, now you're making an extremely pedantic point. Okay, I understand it. Sorry. There. Does that make you happy? Yeah, there. The rules of chess, when you say, I know the rules of chess, that's going to be a debate about the word in English. Oh, you know, like, or whatever, right? Some kind of like socio-cultural context of the rules of chess. Yeah, I'm not interested in that. That's what I'm saying. That's not relevant to the conversation. Maybe the way he's using the words or the whatever, the rules are idiosyncratic. It doesn't matter. That's what I'm trying to get to you across your head. It doesn't matter. That part doesn't matter. So that is a literally pedantic point of the highest degree.
Okay.
You get okay, good. So now I'm happy. Okay,
Go on.
Yeah, there's nothing else to say. It's a pedantic point. It seems like you agree. Okay, good.
Well, I don't even care to dispute that. I mean, maybe you'll consider it pedantic. Fine. Yeah, I don't care. You do consider it pedantic.
Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, are you? Well, if you're not denying it's pedantic, then I mean, it just shows that you're time wasting. Which I mean,
No. I mean, I don't think it's pedantic at all. But
well, why is it not pedantic? Explain it to me. Well, explain why it's pedantic.
I don't think it's irrelevantly superfluous, which is kind of how I understand pedantry. I think it is relevant because it connects to what you're saying.
It doesn't connect,
or at least I think it connects.
Okay, let me be here. I stated my reason. Just tell me why my reasoning was wrong. Okay, I said this. I said, whatever, you know, you said the rules of chess, right? There's like the rules of chess, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm saying is this. Okay, let's say my rules of chess are idiosyncratic from the normal usage of the term, right? The normal rules, right? That's fine. What I'm saying is, that's true, but we can still state conditional truth about my rules, right? So what I'm saying is, like, for example, my rules might have it so that you can only, you know, there's no in passant or whatever, there's something. But then I have some end game. So let's just, I like the chess analogy. There's some end game, okay? And you can still analyze, given my rules of chess, what the best move would be, right? What the outcome would be of the right? If you want to play to win, right? Even though my rules of chess are idiosyncratic, so I'm saying the conditional is true, whether it's the quote unquote rules of chess. So that's why I'm saying it's pedantic. So can you now? You're saying it is.
I wasn't even making a claim about.
So you're saying
okay, wait. So I misunderstood you. I wasn't even making. I wasn't even making a claim about. What conditionally follows, right? I was making a claim about whether or not the antecedent obtains. Like, this is kind of how I'm putting it. So just so you can understand, like, if the skeptic is right, like, it follows trivially that inferential claims are not going to satisfy the skeptic. Okay, but whether or not what follows from that is that you can only have inferential knowledge, that's what's not clear. And a way that would motivate me to accept that is if something like the skeptic's rules of engagement mirror the right epistemic norms. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, I don't know what you're saying. First of all, that's not the chess example, and I don't know what you're saying.
I know, because you're bringing up the
you're backtracking. That's
example,
not
but it doesn't. I only use
chess
fine. Not as an analogy, but only as an example relating to truth claims about rules. Because I'm not trying to say anything about what conditionally follows from rules. All I was saying was that
I don't know what it means for the
we can be right or wrong about what the rules of the game are.
All right. So if the way you're saying right and wrong is different in meaning than the chess example, I don't know what you're saying again. So I'm back to that issue. Either what you're saying is exactly the chess case. Look, I'm going to say one more time. I don't know what it means for the antecedent to be true or false, or to be. Let me put it like this: false. I know what it means to be true, but I don't know how the antecedent can be false, other than the kind of chess example case. So if you're saying it's not, what you mean by the antecedent is false is not the chess example case. Another example, because you already gave an example. So this is your second example, because now you're.
Well, it's just going to be returning to the first example, but clarifying the truth-making conditions.
I want to be clear because your previous example you're dodging now. Go ahead. Give another example.
How am I dodging? I'm directly engaging with what you're saying, but listen to me. Did you say, just because maybe I misheard you, okay? Did you say you wouldn't know what it would mean for an antecedent where the antecedent is these are the right rules or something, for that to be true? You wouldn't understand that.
I said, I don't know false. I said false. And I said, I'm not sure what you mean by that if it's not just the same thing as the chess example you gave. I understand the chess example, right? But the chess example
okay, that's all I'm saying about the chess. Right, no, it's just a chess example. Sorry, I misheard you.
Okay, so I'm gonna be the
point I
chess
was
example. I
getting at
already showed
there
the chess
was
example is pedantic. So I don't know what you. Okay. The chess example is pedantic. I already explained it. Because let me. Okay, here's another way.
I don't think it's.
Here's
Okay.
another way of saying why it's pedantic. Okay.
Okay, wait. Just wait. I don't listen. I'm fine with saying it's pedantic. I really don't care. Like,
No, this
I
is
don't think
important.
it's
Actually, no, I disagree. No. This is really important. This is really important because we need. No, we cannot make any progress because you need to acknowledge that you.
The whole point I was making earlier was the conditional you presented.
Just dodge your bullshit lying.
What? Listen, stop with the meta conversation. Just go back to the conversation and listen. I'm fine with them. If I'm a liar, I'm dishonest, or about that, I don't care. Just get to the point. The point I was talking about was this. The original conditional was if the skeptic is right, then you can't have only inferential knowledge. That conditional is not clear to me. A clear conditional is this. If the skeptic is right, then only inferential knowledge won't satisfy the skeptic. I'm fine with that, but I'm not fine with the first conditional, which was the conditional you were claiming. And I want motivation for that.
I like how this guy just he's allowed to just cut me off and then just say, "Oh, I don't care anymore." It's funny, and then says, "Oh."
Well, I'm with conceding the pedantry point if it satisfies you. I'm okay with that. I really just want to get to the main substance of the debate.
That was the main substance, but you okay? Conveniently,
the main substance was the argument you're presenting and whether or not it's valid, whether or not the conclusion actually follows from the premise that you presented. And I'm saying the premise you presented, I don't think, or the first premise you presented, I don't even think is right. And then I was giving you a reformulation of the first premise, which I would think is right.
No.
What do you mean I'm not engaging? I am.
Look, I cannot engage if what you're going to do is you're going to, every time, pedantically cut me off.
What do you mean every time? This is the first time I've conceded to you on pedantry.
You're cutting me off again. Hey, are you going to let me talk? I just let you talk. Okay.
I am cutting you off, but that's because I want you to get to the point. And I'm gonna let you talk.
Okay, so you're admitting that you're not letting me talk even though I consistently just let you rant. Okay, so let me be clear. I cannot. So the problem is, conveniently, every time I make a point, you pedantically nitpick it, and then we go on some long tangent. And then conveniently,
I'm gonna be pedantic,
you decide,
but you really mean every time?
You're cutting me off again. Hey, that's not allowed. Okay, thank you. And then you conveniently, when I'm about to show you how you're being completely pedantic, and how this is important because how are you gonna make progress if you're gonna keep doing this? Every time I make a point, you're gonna pedantically waste my time for an hour. You just say, "Oh, I don't care anymore." So I don't know. I can't get to the main substance.
I did that. I mean, it's not even I've done that every time. And I'm fine conceding it because you're not understanding how I'm understanding pedantry, and you're not understanding that I think there's a relevance condition there. And it does seem relevant to me. You're trying to say it's irrelevant, and
but you
the
dropped
argument is satisfying, and then I reply, and then you just give the same reply you gave earlier. I mean, it seems like you're making no headway. So to move on and get to the actual point, which is the argument presenting, I'm going to satisfy you and just drop the point. What?
All right, whatever. Look.
Oh my God, wait, did you just say whatever? Are you like dropping a point where I'm talking about pedantry? Are you serious, dude? Oh my God.
You need to go back to work.
You want to continue?
Every time because you're tweeting.
Yeah, you want to continue? I'm happy to continue. You want to continue?
I do want to continue. That's why I'm asking you to get to the argument.
No. You said I said what? So I'm being so fine. You're saying I'm dropping it. Fine.
You know what I said? I said listen, I'll be pedantic again because it seems to really get you going. Actually, I said you said whatever.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm happy you're admitting it now, so it's good. We're making progress.
I'm just saying
now the progress is being made. The first step to any goal is accepting. The first step to any problem is accepting you have a problem. You know, that's look, that's whatever. So it's good.
No,
I'm happy.
So. To be pedantic again, it's accepting that something's going on and that it is a problem. I'm not accepting the second part.
So I'm happy you're accepting that you have a problem. Yeah, that's good. It's good progress.
I don't know if you heard what I just said.
So, anyways, I'm happy about that. But yeah, so I'm gonna make my point again about the conditional, and I don't know what this guy's saying. Look, and this guy again. First of all, he keeps flip flopping. But so the skeptic. I'm saying, roughly again. If what was the conditional? It's like, yeah, if the rules of the game. Let's say X are the rule. Let's call X. If X are the rules of the game, then the skeptic is right. Then this, the skeptic wins. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's my conditional. Are you saying that's false?
That's not the conditional I said was false. The conditional I said was false was if the skeptic is right, then it follows, or not right, sorry, that if the skeptic, or just brutally right, if the skeptic is right that you can't beat him with the rules of the game, then it follows that there isn't only inferential knowledge. What I do think is true is that only inferential knowledge won't satisfy the skeptic if the skeptic.
So are you denying which part are you denying? Because initially, okay, let's be clear here. Are you denying the antecedent or what?
The first conditional I said.
Are you denying? No, but are you saying that the antecedent is false? Because that's what you were trying to say. You're saying something like, well, you're trying to say something like conditional is
saying true. As a whole is false.
Okay, now you're trying to deny that the link from the antecedent to the consequence. That is not what you said. It's so convenient. Again, I already knew this. This is what. Okay.
This is what I have been saying for the past 10 minutes.
I know that's not what you fucking said. God. Okay, whatever. I'll let it go. Okay.
Fucking lie.
Yeah, he is. He's literally lying, but it's okay. It's okay. But it's okay. It's okay. Okay. So,
what?
Okay.
Mustafa, do you really think I'm lying?
I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna go.
Not being dishonest.
Oh, right.
Of course.
Okay.
No, of course. But the point is, and this is the point, okay, the skeptic, so not the whole condition, like you're asking the whole condition, that was the whole previous conversation we had. I'm like, I actually don't want to do the whole song and dance one more time. Like,
no.
What I'm annoyed by is this. Oh no, let me finish.
Okay.
We did the whole song and dance, and at one point you said, "Oh, okay, the whole song and dance is correct." And then when I went and tried, then I was going to link the whole song and dance to the other point about the objection. When I got to that point, and no one could deny it. You know this, and you could say your final word. But
okay.
Fine. But once we did the whole song and dance, and I was going to go and I said, then show how this whole song and dance relates to the original point. Right when I did that, you didn't. I'm like, and then we started getting to that conversation. You basically forced me to do the whole song and dance again. Right now, you're basically saying do the whole song and dance again one more time. So what other bullshit? I'm not. Fuck that shit. Why'd you agree in the first place? But anyways, that's all I'm gonna say.
What was the last thing you asked? Sorry.
I said, what other bullshit? Why the fuck did you agree in the first place? Then you already agreed with the whole song and dance, and then right when I show it, you didn't make me force me to do the whole song and dance again. Go ahead.
Listen, I think you're getting confused about what I think follows from the song and dance being right. If by song and dance you mean like the skeptic never, being able to lose their own game, yeah, I agree with that. But I think you're getting confused about what I think follows from that. What I agreed follows from that is that inferential knowledge only will never satisfy the skeptic. But that doesn't follow that there can't only be inferential knowledge. And this is why I was talking about earlier, like whether or not the rules are correct or not correct. Like, if the skeptic is right that what constrains knowledge are, what's going to satisfy the skeptic, then I do agree it follows that you can't only have inferential knowledge, right? But also it seems to follow that you can't have non-inferential knowledge because that's not going to satisfy the skeptic either. What I'm getting at is the skeptic being right or wrong or something like that is important. And it's important insofar as it's going to tell us whether or not we can actually only have inferential knowledge.
So are you denying the antecedent or are you denying the whole conditional again? So I'm lost again.
Oh my gosh. I'm denying this conditional. If
Go ahead.
Skeptic cannot be beaten within their own game, then you can't only have inferential knowledge. The conditional I'm affirming is if the skeptic is right about not being able to be beaten in their own game, then only inferential knowledge will not satisfy the skeptic.
The first claim is just analytically true. I have to go. So if you deny that first claim,
analytically true?
Yes, it's analytically true because the rules of the game, by definition, I'm not gonna go through this. Let's just say I did do this whole song and dance. But I do have to go. I really have to go. So
okay.
I basically let you have the last word. That's all. Okay.
Okay.
Say your piece.
If you're gonna let me have the last word, my last word is just that I don't think there's like this analytic connection between the rules of the game and constraints on knowledge. And if there isn't, whether or not the skeptic is right about what goes on in the rules of the game has no effect on whether or not we can only have inferential knowledge.
Okay, fine. Okay, I have to go. Bye-bye.
Bye.